This week's race of the week comes from the Mazda 7 Championship at Donington Park. The Mazda 7 Championship almost always produces excellent racing, and in this race there was over 26 changes in the lead group.
5-second board, red light's going to go on, and out they go, and we're underway for 15 minutes of racing. And from the outside of the front row, it's David Hitchin who's made a good start, and it's that looks like Eddie Moyer, who's gone not from a 10-second delay as we were expecting, but from about row 4 of the grid, trying to go around the outside then. So maybe either there was another amendment or the grid wasn't given to the start line marshals. But anyway, race is underway, and it's David Hitchin, I think, that leads. Ben Powney second.
Lots of twitching, so the conditions on cold tyres are pretty tricky, but everybody's, I think, saved their moments, which is good to see. And as you say, David Hitchin from the outside of the front row leads. It's side by side with second. Eddie Moyer going for second. Hopefully there's not a question mark over this race for him. But he's up ahead of Ben Powney. Martin West is fourth. There was a sideways carve, I think, of Craig Land, who was behind there in fifth position. But the speed difference from race one is pretty appreciable immediately on this pretty dry circuit now. And those Toyo tyres are coming up to temperature, with David Hitchin then leading the way. The Clio and low-cost race up the toe is pretty effective, and that has drawn the three cars behind right back with the leader at the conclusion of the first lap, and it's very busy behind with everybody else seemingly coming through the chicane together.
Yeah, so along the week-off straight, there's one car that's gone straight on more or less at the chicane there. So that was the 88 car of Michael Jacobs, who's rejoined the circuit
possibly
now.
Damage to the front left corner.
Well, is that Moyer that's got into the lead of the race? Yes, it has, in the 77 car. So he's got ahead of David Hitchin. Ben Powney there in third. Martin West is fourth, trying to become third. And there's a little bit of a gap back to Craig Land, who was in the end on the podium in race one. Look at the cars sliding around as they head through the old hairpin. Really good racing this, as we thought we might get from the Mazda 7s once we've got a completely dry track.
It's Craig Land closing in on the cars in front as they're battling. Yeah, it's pretty much 5 for the lead now, so the double low-cost champion joins the top 4 to make it a 5-way battle. We could get Daniel Sibbons into this before the end. Through Coppice Corner then, Eddie Moyer leading the way. The driver finished third in the championship 2 years ago. He's being chased by David Hitchin. Ben Powney pulls out of the toe. Martin West does the same, and all 4 of them are going to arrive at the Robert chicane pretty much together, with David Hitchin on the inside line of Eddie Moyer to claim the lead back. West and Powney go through the Robert chicane side by side, which is going to give Craig Land a good run out of the corner. Up towards Redgate they go for the third time of asking. Eddie Moyer's doing what he did a lap ago and challenging. There's another car off, that's Tom Parker, just like race one. He's out of it, but for the lead, Moyer on the outside for Redgate can't go through. So David Hitchin leads this time out of Redgate. We've got 6 for the lead because Daniel Sibbons has joined in. So we had 4, then 5, now 6. It might take a little while before we get any more.
It's great racing as ever from the Mazda 7 Championship. So we've got these 5 in this shot, 6 now joining. A bit of a gap back to Anthony Ridd. He's about 2.5 seconds behind this leading sextet of cars, headed by Hitchin at the moment, who was second in the earlier race. Moyer behind him. And Powney is towards the back of this group at the moment in 5th position, but he's raced in Mazda 7s for a long time, and he knows that just because he's 5th now is not necessarily going to prevent him from winning this race later on. That's Lucas Batt, who's got that bodywork fouling the tyre there. He had problems in race 1, didn't he, as well? So not a great day for him. 2, nearly 3 abreast for second place down into the Robert chicane, and it's Martin West that's gone through into second place ahead of Eddie Moyer there. Craig Land is 4th, Ben Powney 5th, Daniel Sibbons 6th, but it's still at the end of lap 3, David Hitchin leading.
And we've got another car off. 17, is that possibly? Not sure. But the leaders come down towards Redgate. The fastest lap has just been set by the car in 10th position, which is Martin Shelton, and it's a new lap record, 1 minute 20.04 for Martin Shelton. Battles in the mid-pack involving Sam McKee and David Martin as well. But their clarification of the aim shot fastest lap going to Martin Shelton. That car that was off at McLean's has got going. Good news. So he can carry on this race, which David Hitchin led by 9/10 of a second, remarkably, at the end of 3 laps. You just have to wonder if he can maintain that lead or not.
Oh, and that's off for Simon Walker, the drive from Newcastle, number 73 at McLean's.
Mistake from Craig Land. He's been passed by Ben Powney, and now he'll be passed by Daniel Sibbons as he run wide at McLean's corner. So it's Hitchin from West, Moyer and Powney, then a gap back to Sibbons and Land. Slightly more spread out than it's been.
I'm just going to say, it's a bit spread out by Mazda 7 standards, isn't it? Sibbons there is going to lose a place, I think, to...
Saying that.
Craig Land. Yeah, it's all of a sudden gone, and he just went to the left-hand side of the tyres there, did Martin West. Didn't miss them by very much, but he's lost a couple of places, probably going to lose 3 places because of that as he struggles to regain momentum. So now side by side for the lead of the race between number 54 David Hitchin and 77 Eddie Moyer, who's on the outside line for Redgate corner. Can he sweep around the outside? No, he cannot. Powney back to third. Martin West after that off at the Robert Chicane has gone to 4th place. And it's Craig Land 5th, and 6th is Daniel Sibbons at the moment. Moyer's got the fastest lap, 1:19.958.
He's round the outside of the crane and curves in, trying to get past David Hitchin, and he's made it work, but it was pretty dicey on that line. So Moyer leads. He runs wide though, so Hitchin comes back through. Then West and Powney. So I don't really know how Martin West was challenging for the lead at the end of the previous lap, but he went off the road. And they turn their way through sideways. Moyer with the fastest lap on the lap record now into the 1:19. The defensive driving started to happen here from David Hitchin, but West has took the lead. He was 4th a few moments ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it's going to be 6 cars across the circuit almost. Well, the Donington Park isn't quite wide enough for that, so they're trying to work out who's in what order. Martin West has got the lead. A big lock-up, huge lock-up from Eddie Moyer. Ooh. And he has, at the moment of all moments, into the chicane. He's off the road.
Nearly took out Ben Powney, didn't he? But I think just narrowly avoided contact. That's probably cooked his goose as far as this race is concerned. It now means we've sort of had the cars pairing off, and it's Hitchin going back up the inside of Martin West for the lead of the race into Redgate corner. And he's done it. Number 54 goes through, but he's sideways. They're both a little bit sideways. And now has West got the lead back? He's on the inside line through the craners. Yes, he has. So 94 Martin West retakes the lead. 54 David Hitchin is second. Third and fourth, I think now we've got Craig Land and Daniel Sibbons. Eddie Moyer's headed to the pits by the looks of things. So yes, Sibbons and Land 3rd and 4th. There's Moyer in the pits, even with the team boss. They're giving him some words of advice as we're now watching the battle between Sibbons, who's off into the gravel at McLean's.
Has the track got really slippery because everyone is sliding all over the place on the last lap or so?
Yeah, I wonder if there's something that's gone down onto the circuit that we've not particularly spotted, but yeah, the car's moving around a lot more. The lap times have dropped away. There's not much green on the timing screen now.
Eddie Moore's headed back out, by the way.
Yeah, but he's lost half a lap, hasn't he? Probably, if not more than that.
You can hear the tyres squealing as they try to slow their cars down. Battle here involving Martin Shelton, who had the fastest lap at one point, and David Winter. Well, Martin West has just done a personal best lap, so perhaps they're just going fast, and that's why they're sliding around.
Lucas, that smoke is continuing to pour off the car. West did the fastest lap, or personal best, but he's been passed by Hitchin into the corner at Redgate and Hollywood. So Hitchin now back ahead of West. We've got a car that's stopped there. It's another TSR car out on circuit. Couldn't see who that was. I mean, is he going to get to the end of this race? No, he's not. Hand is in the air. He's realising that, very sadly, his race has come to a premature end for the second time today.
Out of the lead, heading uphill. We've only had half the race, or just a little bit more, but a lot has happened over the last 6 laps. And it's David Hitchin versus Martin West, and Hitchin runs very wide there, possibly too wide, and that hasn't really helped him because Martin West is all over the back of him, but he's now massively sideways as they turn their way through Coppice Corner. And there's another car off, that's Callum Barnes, I think. This race has taken a turn, really, from where we were in the first half, but for the lead, Hitchin can't quite get the better of Martin West, down into the Robert Chicane.
Oh, and Moyer's gone off, and he's not happy, to say the very least, with that. I'm not sure what went on, whether he skated off on his own but he's stomping away.
I've never seen someone so frustrated with going off while they were going off.
No.
In such a visible fashion.
He didn't even wait for the instant to finish. Anyway, poor Eddie, out of the race. It's not been his day.
Craig Land just set the fastest lap, so he's going after the two leaders, 1.3 seconds behind, and West is now ahead of Hitchin with a third of the race to go, down into the old hairpin. Craig Land pushing on. So you got two of the low-cost converts in their first weekend in the top three.
Yeah, going really well, these two. Martin West, David Hitchin, Craig Land, all recently switching across from low cost.
Yeah, West did some races last year. So, but like you say, yeah, these are more of the newcomers, particularly with the two behind West.
I guess it's always what we expected to happen, isn't it? That you'd have drivers moving across the top drivers, and unsurprising that they're succeeding in the Mazda 7 category as well.
David Hitchin's the impressive one for me, because generally he wasn't able to keep up with Craig Land in low cost, but he's beaten him all weekend in the wet and in the dry.
Well, it's probably taking them a little while, maybe some more than others, to get used to the new cars. We say 6 seconds a lap difference around Donington, that's quite significant, so it'll feel quite a different car to drive than the Crossflow low cost, I would think.
And perhaps because David Hitchin has raced other things, the Clios, that's perhaps helped him adjust a little bit quicker than Craig Land is being able to. And of course, it might depend how much testing they've done during the off-season. But this race is far from done. Martin West was able to pull out a margin on that lap, but not a big enough margin to have broke the toe from David Hitchin. These guys definitely are sliding around a lot more than the low costs do with that, like you say, a large speed differential they get into the corners, but the chassis is basically the same, so through the corners you'd think they couldn't really go much faster.
So this is the battle for the lead with 3.5 minutes of the race to go. This aimshop.com Mazda 7 Championship race. Winner earlier on today was Ben Powney. Well, he's down in 4th place at the moment. He's 3 seconds behind the leaders. And those two leaders are just coming up to a back marker as well.
Simon Walker. We saw him in the gravel, didn't we? And this is going to cause a problem for Martin West, who braked. Well, I think Martin West caused his own problem because he braked too late for the corner. And that's given David Hitchin the run. There's possibly 3 laps to go in this yet, which will be good for Craig Land because he's trying to catch these in front. But it's a new fastest lap and a lap record for David Hitchin. Well, I think about a second now under the times from the last visit here to Donington Park.
Yes, more than a second indeed. Underneath. I think the problem there for Martin West was they did come across Simon Walker's car a little bit faster than they expected, so it's brought Craig Land very much into the equation as well.
West, was he ahead there into the yellow at Redgate, and that's held Hitchin and Land back.
Yes, that's probably helps him somewhat, but certainly Land now right with Hitchin. It's helped Land, if anything, hasn't it? And just looking to see if we can see Ben Powney in the back of shot. There he is, flash of orange in the back of shot, but still 2.5 seconds behind Land even, so I'm not sure he's going to be a factor in the last couple of laps of this race. I think it is going to be 2 laps to go at the end of this one. I'll put Coppice for the 10th time in this race. Martin West it is that's leading. He has benefited from having a small lead handed to him here. What's going to happen for second? Craig Land is going to have the inside line for Robert Chicane for this 10th time. Can he go through? Well, Hitchin turns in first and he stays ahead of Land.
This is going to let Martin West really get away, I think, with a couple of laps to go. Westy looking pretty comfortable up front.
And Powney's taken a chunk of time out of him. He's taken about a second out of Land that time and 2 seconds out of Hitchin.
Oh, Hitchin massively sideways again through Redgate.
It's the first round of the Mazda 7 Drift Championship, I think, that we've got.
I'm intrigued by why this is, because the lap times are good, obviously. We're a second quicker than these guys have ever gone around here before. It does not look easy to do those lap times. There's lots of sliding about. And we saw Daniel Simmons go off, didn't we? He's dropped a 13th. From that off, he had a couple of laps to go. Well, we've got our first track limit penalty of the weekend. Going to car number 5, Ian Wells. He's not in the top 10. Craig Land grabs second position away from David Hitchin and McLean's, but slides wide. And back up the inside, then comes Hitchin. This is going to bring Ben Powney into the battle for second position.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we've got, I think, a lap to go at the end of this one. So I think it's going to be Martin West's race to throw away here, but any one of 3 drivers to take second place. Side by side, it's going to be 3 wide, I think, down to Robert Chicane. This time can Powney go around the outside of both of them. He's gone around the outside of one of them. He's got ahead of Craig Land there, but he's still behind David Hitchin as we go on to the last lap of the race with about 9 seconds of it left to go. So it's going to be a 12-lap race here. More than 3 seconds, nearly 4 seconds the advantage for Martin West now. He's checked out, but who's going to be second?
Yeah, it's a GSR battle for second place too, I think. These 3 drivers, David Hitchin, Ben Powney and Craig Land. So turn their way onto Hollywood. Down the corner goes. There's Martin West, 3.8 seconds up the road, which has turned into an unexpectedly big lead. For second though, traffic to deal with. Up the inside of Colin Marshall, the trio go. Better run out of the corner for Craig Land, so he draws up alongside Ben Powney, who was masterful in the wet, but in the dry can't keep Craig Land at bay. So up into third he goes. Looks all David Hitchin ahead of the 2 of them, and then a long way clear Martin West, who's going to win another Mazda 7 race, it seems.
Yep, it looks like it. So out of Coppice, the battle for second goes. Already halfway down the straight, though, is Martin West, number 94. So he's been a low-cost champion, and he's looking like a contender for the Mazda 7 Championship for this year. He was 5th in race 1. He wins the second round of the Aimshot Mazda 7 Championship for 2024. Second place goes the way of David Hitchin on the road. But he has he got a penalty now as well?
He must do,
yeah, I think he's got a penalty. So Ben Powney second classified, Craig Land third. David Hitchin I think has got possibly a 5-second penalty for track limits. He's dropped down to 4th place. Martin Sheldon 5th, then the 13 car, which is that of Anthony Ridd. Then David Winter, David Martin, David Bowen, and the 55 car, he had a good drive through the field actually. Mark Crawford from row 11 of the grid. That's a good result for him.